Hey everyone, welcome to Blossom in Business, the podcast for beauty business owners who are ready to treat their business like a business, not just a hobby. My name is Monique and I'm a Melbourne-based salon owner and educator, and I'm here to help you grow your income, attract the right clients, and build a business that's actually sustainable. So if you're in the beauty industry and you're ready to level up your mindset, your marketing, and the way that you run your business, this is the podcast for you. I hope you love this episode. Now let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Blossom in Business podcast. If you missed the last episode, I actually changed up my setup a little bit. I'm now filming inside my salon, so it looks a little bit cuter. You see a little bit more of me, and it's just like such a vibe. But I will say that it might have some extra noises because it's so cold in here. I've got the heater at full blast because I came in and it was like 11 degrees. Curious to see how you guys like it. I'm still going to configure it a bit better. We've got some shadowing going on, probably the heater noise. I don't know exactly how good it is, but we're going to just try and refine it a bit as time goes on. Today I wanted to talk about something super important, and I feel like it's a common misconception a lot of beauty business owners have. And that's the fact that marketing doesn't stop just because you're fully booked. They have this mindset that they're fully booked, they don't need to post on social media, they don't need to do any form of marketing because they are fully booked currently. Their clients are always going to come back and they're never going to have an empty spot. But the reality is that people get sick, people can cancel, sometimes they can no longer afford the appointment. Things happen, and people who you think are going to come all the time sometimes don't come at all, or maybe they come less often. So your client that maybe goes every 2-3 weeks is now pushing it to 4, 5, 6, whether it's to do with affordability, whether it's to do with your availability, or just life. Just because you're fully booked for a certain time, that doesn't mean it's going to stay that way forever. Because if your regular clients do stop coming, maybe they go longer between appointments, or for whatever reason, you have an empty spot, who's going to fill it? So there's this misconception that just because you're fully booked, you don't have to attract new clients, you don't have to put any effort into social media or anything like that. You might get a little bit too comfortable with the fact that your books are full, that when they're not, you're like, oh, like I didn't prepare for this. And I say this because I have done the exact same thing, and I still do it to this day because I'm not perfect. I am trying to run 2 businesses, and sometimes I forget to do things, sometimes I have different priorities, and that's just life. That's just how it is. You can't be the perfect business owner. Sometimes there's areas in your business where you're lacking. And for me, as of recently, if you guys didn't know already, I am so heavily focused on education and everything with Blossom in Business that my salon, Royal Blossom Beauty, I've just kind of been maintaining it, right? So I'm working 4 days a week with my home salon. But majority of my clients have been coming to me for 2, 3, 4 years. So I would say 99% of the bookings that I have are repeat clients. They rebook themselves online. That was a whole topic from another episode, but I don't rebook them. They rebook themselves online, and they always rebook. I don't really have any issues with that. But recently there was a situation that I got myself into, and I was like, I can't just keep ghosting the salon Instagram. I actually need to put in effort. To an extent, it's a bit hard because I'm trying to scale education, but like I still have to make the salon work to get money. It's kind of like a balancing act right now. It's a bit difficult right now, but I've kind of been putting the salon on the back burner because I'm like, yeah, the clients, they always come back. Like I don't have to, post on Instagram. I don't have to try and attract new clients. But I will say, if you didn't know already, I went to Japan for most of May. And the thing about taking time off, especially for 3 weeks, is that your clients are going to want to book in as soon as they can when you get back and as close as they can to when you leave. So that was the case for me. I was going away for 3 weeks, and I do have some lash clients that come every 2-3 weeks. I have some nail clients that maybe come 3 weeks, some 4, some 5, some 6. Everyone's kind of all over the place. But especially those clients that come every 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks, they're trying to get as close to my holiday as they can. So that last week before I leave and that first week I start back in the salon, everyone wants those spots. So not only those people that do come maybe in that 2 to 4 week mark, because that's when they're going to need appointments, but also maybe there's someone that goes 8 weeks, like brow lamination. If they just so happen to line up at that time before I leave, after I get back, or even while I'm away, they're going to want those spots as well. So this is what I noticed happened. Because a lot of my clients were trying to get that last week before I went away, they wanted that last appointment so that it's less time between appointments when I get back, because it's like 3 weeks I was closed. So everyone was kind of going at least 3.5, 4 weeks, bare minimum, right? Everyone wanted that last week before I left and that first week back. So what happened is those last 2 weeks before I left were fully booked, because anyone that couldn't get that last week would go the week before. But that third week before I left, it was a bit quiet, and I'm like, what the happened? Like, everyone's kind of going longer than they should. So even though none of my clients stopped coming, because they're stretching out their appointments longer, they're having less appointments within a certain period of time. So therefore I was getting a lower number of bookings. Even though it wasn't less clients, it was all the same clients, but less bookings. So I had a quiet week, 3 weeks before I went away, and I'm like, what did I do? Like, because I haven't been like marketing the salon. Like, I have been so focused on education and all of that I'm like, the salon can fend for itself, And I'll be honest, I got a bit too comfortable with being fully booked, that those quiet weeks hit me like a truck. I was like, ooh, we didn't prepare for this. So the marketing doesn't stop because you're fully booked within a certain period. If you're going away or something happens in your clients' lives and they're stretching out appointments longer than they normally would, even though the number of clients isn't going down, you're not losing clients, you're getting fewer bookings because they're stretching out those appointments. So you always need to be attracting new clients, even if sometimes you don't have the space for them. Because when you do have the space, you do have those gaps, you do have those quieter periods, they get full. So therefore, you never have any quiet periods. Now, I thought this was a really important episode to come out with because as guilty as I am of this is something that I tell students and other nail techs to try and avoid. But here I am. And I wanted to post this and share this with you so you know that, like, no one's perfect. We all have blind spots in our business. It just happens. For me, it's like marketing the salon is my blind spot. Because when I was heavily doing the salon, when I was like, that's my core focus, and I'm still heavy in the salon, but I'm more doing the services rather than the back end. I've kind of created like the booking process, that's all the clients. The rebooking process, that's all the clients. I'm trying to minimize the work I have on the back end of the salon because I'm so invested and spend so much time into the education part. And I know that I don't really want to scale the salon. I don't really want to get staff. I don't really want to increase my hours. I've only gone down to 4 days so far because I'm still building up Blossoming business. But when that scales a bit more, the salon could come down a bit more. So I'm just like, there's no point hiring someone to help me because it's just like, I don't know how many days a week I'm going to be doing the salon. Who knows, in 2 years the salon could be gone. I don't know, because I just love the education side so much. But because the salon is also something that I'm so passionate about, I'm like, she needs to survive. Like, she needs to keep going for now. But because I spent so much time working on like the back end of my education business, I've kind of just put the salon on the back burner and let it try and survive, and usually it does pretty well. Like, I won't lie, usually it's pretty self-sufficient. I don't normally have to do a lot of marketing or anything for it because I'm normally quite booked. But these holiday periods, gosh, she was very humbling. It was a very humbling experience going on holidays because yes, those 2 weeks before I left and those 2 weeks after I came back, they were booked. I was just like running around like a headless chook. I was just so drained, so burnt out. I needed a holiday from my holiday already because it's like Japan, guys. I was walking 15 to 25,000 steps a day. I needed a holiday from my holiday. But even though I had like 2 days in between landing and going back in the salon, it was not enough. And then on top of that, being fully booked for the first 2 weeks after I came back from my holiday, I was like, oh. So I was like kind of grateful for that third week being a little bit quiet, but at the same time, I'm like, I just had a holiday for 3 weeks. I can't have a quiet week because I need like bookings to survive, you know? The salon is still my main form of income. So I wanted this episode to be a little reminder that just because you're fully booked, the marketing doesn't stop. So if you want quiet periods to not happen, you have to prevent them from happening. Not just when they happen, be like, oh, I don't know what happened, and then, go from there. The key is prevention, because it's not just holidays that can cause you to be a little bit quiet. Again, some clients, maybe they can't afford their regular appointments. So 1, they don't come back at all. 2, maybe they come back, but they're going longer between appointments. Or 3, maybe they downgrade. Like instead of getting extensions with art or maybe lash extensions, maybe they go for, just a plain color manicure or a lash lift or something that's lower cost and probably lower maintenance, at least in the extensions to lash lift perspective. So even if you're not losing clients, you can still become more quiet if they're going longer or they're downgrading, having shorter service times and lower cost services as well. That's obviously going to affect your income as well. But there can be other factors as to why you may be a little bit more quiet. So one of them can be availability. If there's not a spot available for your client, they're not going to be able to book in. So either they're not going to book in at all, or even though they don't want to go longer between appointments, they have to because there's nothing there. So for a holiday instance, it's usually the availability, but even just life. So one of the biggest pieces of advice I give to students and other beauticians is to rebook your clients. And I say that. I know I'm a hypocrite. I say that knowing that I don't rebook my clients, but for me, this is a boundaries thing. She's working on that. I don't rebook my clients because I have horrible boundaries. Again, not perfect. I will never claim to be the perfect business owner. We all have blind spots and things that we need to improve. For me, boundaries is one of them, and prioritizing the salon has been a little bit on the back burner, but it's because I'm so focused on education. We all have blind spots, but for me, boundaries wise, I would rather just let them book online, for me personally. But in saying that, if you want your clients to come back and you want to make sure they get a spot that they can fit into, rebooking is like the best thing that you can do. Because some clients, let's be honest, they're going to forget to rebook. Some clients, they remember to rebook, but they're like, oh, I'll wait until closer to the day. They may expect you to have, a lot of availability. Like I have some clients that a lot of the time they get a spot like 3 days before, somehow. And I feel like they become very used to that. So when I do get busier, they end up missing out because they're used to leaving it so last minute. Especially right now, like as I'm filming, I've got a business coach. So I've got 4 weeks where I'm only doing 2 to 3 days in the salon because I need to lock the in. So right now, my salon availability is so minuscule. So clients that are probably used to booking in a little bit last minute and just expecting there to be spots, they're now on the wait list. So even though the hours that I'm working, they're fully booked because I don't have much left to begin with. But even if I did have that availability, those clients that maybe need those very specific days and times, but still choose to leave it last minute, they now have to go longer, which means less appointments for me, less bookings for me. So this can be another reason why maybe your books are a little bit quieter, even if you haven't actually lost the client. If you don't have a spot that's available for them, and I'm not saying rebook them and offer them anything that suits them. Of course, boundaries in place. I'm the last person to talk to about boundaries. Let's be real. I'm not the person for that. But at least in the rebooking instance, I can tell you to have boundaries, but I know for a fact that I don't. So I don't want to pretend to be the person that's, the advertisement for boundaries, because I'm not. I'd rather everyone rebook and they don't have to worry about it. But rebooking is going to reduce the risk of them not getting an appointment or going longer between appointments because they left it last minute. So even though you want to try and find a spot that suits them, don't do it outside your work hours. Have those boundaries in place. And just for people new here that are probably wondering, why don't you rebook your clients? Why don't you just, have boundaries? Because I'm scaling back in the salon and I'm doing less hours, and also I'm slowly getting rid of Saturdays. I've just been decreasing. I was working every single Saturday for the past 6 years. I'm I don't want to do Saturdays anymore, or at least not that much. So I've been reducing Saturdays. I've got rid of evenings, and just overall my availability in the salon is decreasing because I'm so focused on the education side of my business, and I want that to be my main thing. As much as I still want to do the salon, I want education to be my main thing. I'm scaling back in the salon. I'm working less. What that means is, because I'm someone that's fully booked, people are going to miss out. Someone's going to miss out. And I found that when I was rebooking clients, I felt bad and I'll just pop them in whenever anyways. And also as hard as we try, to not let this client book in outside my hours and not this one, as much as we try not to be biased or favoritism or anything like that, because I don't want to be unfair to my clients as well. Picture this, say you had 2 clients, right? Client A and client B, they have the same availability. Let's say Saturday. Those are my days that everyone wants. let's say Saturday, client A and client B both want that Saturday spot. Anytime on a Saturday, that's what they need. Both of them have a 2-hour appointment. If client A comes in and says, I can only do like the Saturday and I don't have a Saturday, maybe I could extend it by 15 minutes and that would fit them in. But realistically, there's no 2-hour spot. There's only a 1 hour 45, right? To client A, I might say, sorry, like there's not a big enough spot left for you. And then she goes home. Or maybe we book her in a little bit later, like she has to stretch it out between appointments, maybe an extra week or so. But then client B comes in, same availability, wants a spot on that same Saturday. And in the same situation, she needs that 2-hour appointment, but there's only an hour and 45 minutes. And I say no. And then she goes, oh, but I can't do the following Saturday. Then I might be like, okay, I'll just extend it by 15 minutes. So now I'm offering client B the spot that realistically should have been offered to client A. Forgot what letter we're up to. But I didn't give it to client A and extend it for her because I was just going to put her in the next week. Whereas client B, I was like, oh, like I kind of have to. Like maybe she could have done the second week and just said she can't because she wants to get earlier. Who knows? I don't want to feel like I wasn't giving fair opportunities to clients to book in, especially because I'm scaling back. Especially because I don't have enough room for everyone. So for me, the fairest way that I could give my clients the ability to book with me and rebook with me is by doing it online. It's just like first in, first served. It is what it is. You might be a beauty business owner watching this and be like, I don't like that. I feel like you should book your clients in. And that's completely fine. I feel like when you have your business, you learn what works for you. You learn the best practices for your business. And I know with my inability to stick to my boundaries, I know with my availability going forward and how I want my clients to feel. Like imagine if client A and client B communicated and told each other and client A's be like, I wanted that spot first and client B got it. Like imagine that happened, I don't want to ever seem unfair to my clients. So that's why I do what I do. That's exactly why I do what I do. In saying that, to students and other technicians that are looking to maximize their appointments, get more bookings, stay fully booked, rebooking is the best thing that you can do. Now, even if you are someone that maybe doesn't have a holiday planned and you are actively rebooking your clients in salon, there can be a certain time of the year that you may experience a quiet period if you do not plan in advance. And this is that post-Christmas period. I find that the typical quiet periods, I say with the little quotations if you're not watching the video, quiet periods are typically around that January, February period. Now, quotations, because again, with correct planning, these don't happen in the first place. But if you're new to the industry, maybe you don't know a whole lot about attracting clients, retaining clients, just running a business, that's not on you. Like you maybe just haven't been taught things like this. That's why we got a podcast, guys. Nothing is expected to be known already. This is why I created the podcast, so you could learn stuff. You don't have to feel like crap because you don't know, certain things. Like it's just, you make mistakes, you learn from it. That's literally all it is. But typically those January, February periods, if not planned for, can be quite quiet. Now this is usually because clients want to book as close to Christmas as possible, right? And not only that, so not only are your regulars booking as close to Christmas as possible, and then let's say they come every 4 weeks, they'll probably come exactly 4 weeks after that last week before Christmas. So everyone's trying to book that last week or so before Christmas, and then they do back whenever they do back, right? So there's that. Client scheduling around Christmas, number one. Number two is those clients that you do book in, your regulars, they might have holidays for January or like over Christmas. That's when a lot of people go away. So even though they plan on coming back, they might stretch their 4 week to a 6 week, So less appointments, even though you haven't lost a client, they're still coming back. They're coming back less frequently because it's just such a busy time. Number three, people are broke. Like it's after Christmas, people are broke. People are broke. So those clients that still do value your service and the price, they might either A, not come at all, B, go longer between appointments, or C, downgrade to something cheaper. Therefore, your books can be more quiet. I think we're up to number four. Number four is around the Christmas time, you'll find that you get a huge influx of new clients. And it's just natural. It happens to every business. So even if you are someone that's just starting out and you are very, very quiet year round, that's a whole another conversation. We can get you on those strategies to get you booked out But let's say you normally aren't fully booked, but Christmas time, you're going to get so much busier because this is when those one-off appointments come in. You get a bunch of new clients that just want nails, lashes, brows done just for the holiday period, just for Christmas. So even when you're not fully booked normally, you'll probably get fully booked before Christmas. And if you are someone that's already fully booked, you're going to get even more booked. Like if you extend your hours, that will probably fill up. But again, boundaries, that's a conversation for another day. But there's a lot of demand for appointments around Christmas. So you might be like, oh yes, I'm fully booked. Yay, love that. But the thing is, a lot of these one-off clients you get before Christmas, yes, you can try and convert them into becoming a regular. You can try and rebook them for January, February, and continue after that. But realistically, either one, they're not going to come back because they just get their nails done for Christmas or whatever they get done just for Christmas. Like that's all they care about. They just want to feel good for that time of year. Or two, maybe they do come back just for January, just to keep that summer flow, summer in Australia at least, like keep that look going on, I guess. But then they don't come back after that. So January, February tend to be a bit quieter if unplanned for, because you have those clients that go longer between appointments because they're busy, holiday period. You have those clients that are lined up perfectly for Christmas, that those in between weeks might get a bit quiet. You have those clients that are going away. They have to go longer between appointments. You have those new clients that may fill your books in December, but may only come back one more time in January, or they don't come back at all. So your January and February can be a bit quieter if you're not attracting new clients all the time. So you should be always marketing to new clients even when you're fully booked, because in the off chance that clients go longer between appointments, maybe one client can't afford it anymore, or one client gets sick, who's going to fill those spots? You need new clients. You always need to be marketing to new clients even if you don't actively have the space for them all the time. By constantly marketing to these new clients, you can prevent quiet periods before they even happen. And again, I'm not perfect. I have let this happen so many times. This literally happened like a month ago. And I was like, oh my fucking God, like I need to get my shit together. Especially if you're someone that relies on your salon to live, like you rely on bookings to pay your bills. If you have a quiet period, that can throw you off so much financially. So just trying to prepare for these times and just always attract new clients, not just around, the post-Christmas period, but year long. You never know when someone's going to stop booking. I've said it a few times now, but no client is a permanent fixture in your business. As much as they may love you and your work and they value your prices or whatever it may be, things happen. They could get in a car accident. They could no longer afford the appointment. Maybe their availability doesn't line up with yours and they have to go longer. Maybe they move locations and they can't come to you anymore. There are so many factors. So reality is you shouldn't get too comfortable being fully booked because it can go away at any time. And on the topic of being fully booked, if you're fully booked and you're consistently quite fully booked, it's not often that you experience any sort of quiet period, I would be raising your prices, girl. You should be going up, leveling up, because clearly if you're fully booked consistently, you're in demand. That is like a telltale sign that you should be increasing your prices. Now, if you're like, oh my gosh, Monique, I'm going through a quiet period right now, what do I do? So of course, prevention is key. Preventing that quiet period from even happening through client attraction. That's a whole nother episode for another day. And I don't know if it'll be announced yet. I'm also working on something that can help you guys so much more. I'm so excited for it, but I don't think I've announced it yet because I'm pre-filming this. I don't know where we're up to with launches and things, but I am working on something to help you guys attract clients. Don't worry. But that also will come in some sort of form of episode as well. That's a topic for another day. But let's say you're in a quiet period right now. First thing I'd be doing is posting your availability. Don't make it seem desperate. Make it seem urgent, like, exclusive or something like that. Give some sort of urgency. 1 spot left. Even if you have 5, just say 1 spot left, Or if you don't want to specify the number, just say a spot's become available, snatch it up before, people take, just give it some sort of urgency. Try and fill it if you can. But let's say it's the day of or the day before, try get a discounted model. Now, not only does that give you money urgently, it gives you a little bit of money, but also I would use this model to get content, because your content is marketing. You're going to film some reels, you're going to take some photos, you're going to use them to attract new clients in the future. So you get a bit of money, you get a bit of content, marketing and income. So perfect. Another thing I would do is consider how you're actually marketing to new clients. Do you have a strategy? Do you consistently post on social media? And is what you post on social media something that's actually going to convert them into clients? Just think about that. Think about your strategy, how you can improve going forward so that it doesn't happen again. The key is, if you are going through a quiet period, yes, it can be quite hard because you're not getting the income. So obviously trying to fix that with a new booking or even a discounted model booking is better than nothing if you're going to do it strategically, where you get content and you therefore are using them for marketing. That's how I'd do it strategically. But the key is to stay productive. If you have a quiet period, don't go sit on the couch and go watch off campus. As good as it is, we're not doing that. We need to stay productive. If it is your business hours, you need to be working on your business, because as much as we need a break, which is why you should have sane, humane work hours, this is a time where you're supposed to be making money, but you're not because you have a quiet period. So I would be productive during this quiet period and think how you can prevent this from happening again going forward. So when you have a quiet period, unless you're working really bad hours and you truly need to relax and have the day off, actually work on a plan to prevent it from happening again. If you can't actually get the bookings to fill it, you can't get model discounted bookings to fill it, think about your strategy. You could create some content by yourself. Do your own nails, Maybe see if your sibling or parent is around to work on. Maybe just film some other educational style, story time style videos. And let's say you've worked on your marketing plan, you know what you're doing going forward, and you've done a lot of work on that, and you're thinking of how else can I stay productive while I'm in this quiet period. And this also goes for if you have a no-show or last minute cancellation. You don't want to waste this time. Use it wisely, use it productively in your business. So I've listed a few other ways that you can stay productive even when you don't have a client, but you're technically supposed to be working. That's actually going to benefit your business in the long run. Watching TV isn't going to do that. Unless it's something business related, it's probably not going to do that. I would only let yourself do that if you're overworked and you need that break. But if you don't, work on your actual business. So some ideas that I've listed on how you can be productive is practicing your technique. So again, something like nails, try it on yourself. Try out some new techniques. Make sure your skills are up to date. If it's something you can't do on yourself, maybe see if you can watch some TikTok videos. Maybe you can enroll in a masterclass. Maybe you can organize for another day to get a model in to practice on. For nails, you can practice on yourself. Maybe you can practice some nail art and some swatches. For lashes, maybe you can do some work on a mannequin. Next thing I'll do is see what stock you need to order for your salon. So go through, see if there's anything you're running out of. I personally like to order all my stock during sale periods. So I keep a list of everything on my phone that I use a lot, and every single sale I'm ordering 3 of them. But go through and see how much stock you have of everything and make a list. If you have a bunch of stuff that you need and you'll need them before the next sale, do your stock order. Do all of that. Next is to declutter your salon and do a good deep clean. You'd be surprised how dusty, if you do nails, the polishes can get. How many colors you probably don't need, you can get rid of, you can sell them off. Maybe do a deep clean, do above your curtains, do, places that you wouldn't even think to clean on the regular. Or it could be cleaning that you normally do and it just saves you time on another day. And of course, education. So I mentioned masterclasses, informative TikToks and Reels, or you can listen to a podcast by yours truly. That is free. It's free. You can listen to the podcast while you're practicing your nail art. You can listen to the podcast while you're looking at your stock, while you're cleaning. Let me be the music to your ears. You can listen to me any time of day. Anyways, I hope you guys took a lot from this episode. I feel like I was talking really fast because I was so passionate about this, because I've experienced this firsthand so many times and I clearly haven't learned from it. So again, I'm not perfect. But I hope that you guys took a lot away from this episode, and I hope it was so valuable. My biggest 2 takeaways from this lesson are: quiet periods should not be normalized, they should be prevented. And next is, just because you're fully booked doesn't mean you should stop marketing to new clients. And if you are fully booked consistently, you're in demand and you should be increasing your prices. And when you're working on your client attraction strategy, that strategy should work to attract clients that are going to pay your new premium prices. Anyways, guys, that's a wrap on this episode, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for listening to this episode of Blossom in Business. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love if you could give the video a thumbs up on YouTube or rate the podcast 5 stars on Spotify and Apple. If you don't want to miss an episode, make sure to hit the notification bell so you get notified every single time a new episode drops. If you want to follow along on my journey, I've put the links to all of my socials in the description. If there's any topics you'd like covered on the podcast, or you'd like to apply to be a guest speaker, you can find the links in my description. Stay tuned for the next episode.